What's up guys, it's Patrick from Purple Park Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this effect in After Effects. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a plugin by Video Copilot. It's free. It's called Saber. You can download it right here. Go to videocopilot.net and you can get the plugin here for After Effects. So if you don't want to use this plugin, you can still follow along and you can create a mask and layer it with any effect of your choice. So the effect itself doesn't really matter. It's more about the motion tracking that we're going to be covering in this tutorial. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit New Composition from Footage, and I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where I have my footage saved, and I'm going to select it and hit Import. And this is free footage. You can get it from pixabay.com. I just went on Pixabay and searched eyes, and I scrolled until I found this. And I like this one because it's in pretty slow motion, and makes it really easy to track. And I was just kind of looking to do something cool with the effect, so I grabbed this footage here. So I'm actually just gonna start it at about 3 seconds here because there's like a long pause, 3 seconds where he's like not doing anything. So I'm just going to move this over here and trim this. And then I'm also just going to trim the end when it gets to like 7 seconds right here. Alright, so I have my footage trimmed, and you can see that everything is looking good. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit fit up to 100% here. So we're just about ready to start tracking. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit Layer, New, and I'm going to add a Null Object. And right off the bat, I'm just going to rename this to Null IL. Just to stay organized. And now that I have that named, I'm going to select my footage, go over to Effects and Presets, or I'm sorry, go to Tracker, just under Effects and Presets, and I'm going to hit Track Motion. And I just want to make sure that the target is the Null IL. So I'm going to hit Edit Target, and Null IL is selected. If it's not, you can hit this little drop down arrow here and just select it, hit OK. And now I'm pretty much ready to start tracking. So you can see this little track marker has appeared here. So I'm just going to grab it by clicking inside this the outer box here, and I'm just going to move it up and position it on the eye somewhere about like right there maybe. And you always want to select points of contrast, points with good contrast whenever you're doing any kind of tracking. You can increase the search sizes here, but I'm not really going to do that at the moment. So I'm just going to hit Control Z because I think that what I have is good enough. But if you're working on a scene and the tracker keeps falling off or something, feel free to increase the search size. So in order to start tracking, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally hit this Analyze Forward button, and After Effects is going to do its thing and track. Alright, so After Effects is done tracking. You can see it did a nice job following that eye all the way across. If you're happy with your track, you just want to go ahead and hit Apply, and apply to the X and Y, just so hit OK. And now this tracking data has been applied to the null object that we created here. We're going to real quick track the other eye. So I'm just going to follow the same process, hit Layer, New, add a null object. And I'm going to just real quick, just stay organized, rename this to Null IR. And I'm going to select my footage, and I'm going to hit Track Motion. And you can see I get another tracker here. I just want to make sure that the edit target is set to the Null IR. So I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to go to frame 1. So grab my track marker and I'll just place it on the eye, and then I'm going to scroll out a bit and just hit Analyze Forward. Alright, so the track's finished, so I'm just going to hit Apply here and then OK. Alright, so now you can see we've successfully tracked the motion on the eyes here. So now we're ready to create our mask. So make sure you go to frame 1, and then I'm going to hit Layer, New, and I'm going to create a solid. And we're going to call this Eye VFX L for the left eye. And I'm going to go to my effects and presets, and if you downloaded the Saber plugin and installed it into After Effects, you can just click Saber and drag it right here onto the Eye VFX. And what we're going to do first is we're going to change the render settings from black to transparent here. And then what that's going to allow is for the transparency. So you're only getting the effect. You're not getting the black background as well. So in order to create this first effect, we need to change a setting in the Saber preset here. So I'm actually going to go up to Customize Core, hit the drop down arrow, and I'm going to go from Saber to Layer Masks. And essentially what that's going to do is if we create a mask, it's going to have the plugin follow the mask. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating my mask here, and I just want it to be a tiny little, almost like a little rotated cube here in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this pick whip, and I'm going to pick whip this to Null IL. And now if I go fit up to 100%, and I'm just going to change this to quarter for playback here. If I hit play, you can see that the effect is following the eye, which is what we want. Now we may have to make some slight adjustments to this later, and we're definitely going to have to do a lot as far as the actual effect of the eye. So I'll pause the playback here, and I'm going to zoom into my effect here, and we're going to change a few settings in Saber. Now you can mess with all this. I mean, there is a lot of stuff here that they have. It's really a great plugin. But I'm going to go up to presets, and I'm just going to change this to something like I think I used, what was it, like Proton maybe? I'm not sure which one exactly I used, but I'll change it to that for now. And then if I hit play, you can see that this one is actually animated. It's kind of hard to see from back here, but it is animated, and it's like kind of moving around, and you can just tweak. There's a bunch of settings here, like the glow bias. You could start tweaking that for more of a glow effect. We crank that up there. This halo intensity, you can play with this by dragging this down, that like really harsh ring that's in the middle. If you turn that down to, I think like almost, you could probably get away with turning it down to 0. It's just going to not be as harsh there. So if I go back to fit up to 100% and then track forward, I'm sorry, play forward, you can see that now the eye is glowing, and there's some animation happening on that effect there. And you could really spend a lot of time with this, and if it starts to go off a little bit there, just from the initial position where we track the mask, right about here, I think it starts to go off. So I can go to my eye VFX, I can go to transform, and I'm just going to hit position, and that'll create a keyframe. And then I'll go to like right about here. I can zoom in, and I can just grab this whole mask here and move that over. And it's important to note, I'm not sure if I did, that when you create your mask, you don't want to create your mask on the actual footage itself. Whatever the solid that you've dragged the Saber plugin onto, you want to create your mask on that. So you can see now here that I have this other keyframe for where I move this. Maybe we just want to move this up just a little bit more, just so it's right there around the pupil. Now if I go back, go up to fit up to 100%, and I hit play, you can see that now when he moves his eye, I've animated that just to follow along with it. And then you can go ahead and spend as much time as you want messing with these effects and settings till you get something that looks really nice. I'm not going to waste your time fiddling around doing that, but I hope that you learned something from this tutorial, and if you like it, hit that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.